my next guest, because the 2024 presidential race so far looks like to be a rerun, potentially, of Donald Trump against Joe Biden. But this weekend, a groundswell of commentators claimed that Trump could yet be disqualified from the ballot altogether over his alleged attempts to inspire insurrection. My next guest may have some pretty strong feelings about that. Vivek Ramaswamy is the breakout star of the Republican race so far, the only one, frankly, to rival Trump for any kind of publicity or momentum. There's just one problem. He hasn't really explained yet how he'll actually beat Trump. Well, Vivek joins me now. Great to see you again.
It's good to see you, Piers. How are you?
Well, first of all, an apology, because I've always called you Vivek, and then you very kindly corrected us all and said you are Vivek as in cake.
That's correct. I appreciate best efforts, but I usually save the airtime for substance. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, look, we've done a few interviews, Vivek, so far. And
yes.
Obviously, when it started, not many people knew much about you other than your entrepreneurial stuff. Now, since the last debate, you've become incredibly well known, very well talked about, and a lot of unfriendly fire is coming your way. So my first question is, how are you handling being now in the proper spotlight of being a presidential candidate?
I'm fine with it. And I do think, Piers, that's part of the process. We jumped into this race early on, going in eyes wide open, knowing that politics is a dirty sport. It's filled with falsehoods. You may have seen a report over the weekend that actually one of the other candidates' large super PACs was taking credit to their donors for the attacks that have been manufactured against me. That's okay. I can handle it. And to tell you the truth, if I'm asking the people of this country to ask me to represent the U.S. across the table from Xi Jinping, I better be able to sit across the table from other candidates or from left-wing media or anybody else. And so we're doing just fine with it. I'm focused on what we want to achieve for this country, shutting down the administrative state, keeping us out of World War III, declaring independence from China, growing the economy, reviving national pride. These are my actual focus areas, not some side attacks that I really could care less for.
OK, look, you've certainly been so far, I would argue, the most pro-Trump of the other candidates. But that raises the question, if he's so great, even to the extent you would pardon him of any crimes he may be convicted of, why would you run against him? Why not just let Donald Trump run again and potentially win again, and maybe you get a good job out of it? In other words, if you keep talking him up, how does that help you?
So the answer is, I'm not looking at what's going to help myself or not. I'm looking at speaking the truth. And I do think he was an excellent president as judged by results, but I'm going to deliver something that he did not. National unity. Uniting this country is a top objective for me. I'm 38 years old. I am the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. And Piers, we're reaching the next generation in droves. We're reviving national pride amongst young Americans. 40% of my 100,000 plus donors are first-time ever donors to the Republican Party in any form. That is unheard of. That number is normally 2%. And so, yes, on 90% of policy areas, I do agree with Donald Trump, and I respect his accomplishments. But there's more to a president than just being a policy book in a binder. Part of this is how we reunite this nation. I think I'll be best positioned to accomplish that, and I look forward to working with Donald Trump when I hope he's my advisor. Frankly, my mentor in my first year in office. That much I will take. But that's how I think this is going to play out.
You managed to say that you thought Donald Trump would be your advisor as president with a straight face there, Vivek.
I do. I think he's somebody who has a lot of experience. I don't want to start with a standing start. I want to build on those 4 years of experience.
No, I can
pick
see
up where he left off,
just to
take
explain,
the agenda to the next level.
No, I can see why you would want him as an advisor. It's just the idea of Trump playing second fiddle to anyone, I think, is highly unlikely. And I guess my overriding view is, how do you beat him? He's so far ahead. You had a good debate, I thought, in many ways. You got a lot of publicity out of it, but it hasn't really moved the needle on the polls. Trump is so far ahead. He looks unstoppable. And all these indictments, all they seem to be doing is helping him.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm dead set against these indictments. That is not how I want to win this election. Seeing the opposition eliminated, no, that's the wrong way to do it in this country. I will say this, though, Piers. People said you started at 0% in March. I said, nope. I started at 0.0% in March. I'm now a solid second or third in nearly every major national poll that's coming out. And many people in this country didn't even know who I was 6 months ago. Most people couldn't pronounce my name until 2 weeks ago. And so the fact of the matter is we're on our way up. I'm still introducing myself to the country. And I'm confident that we're going to be successful.
Okay,
I'm talking to you
from a
farm in New Hampshire we're meeting voters, and I think we're very confident about where we're headed.
You are going to have to take the gloves off with Trump at some stage, maybe on a debate stage. So what don't you like about Donald Trump?
Well, look, it's less about what I don't like about him, but what I do think this country needs to go further. I will unite this country, and if Trump was going to do that in his 4 years, that would have already happened. He delivered great results, but I think we have to actually speak about this country in a way that reaches the next generation. Talk about what it means to be an American.
He's too divisive.
Piers, I'm not in this race to run against anybody, but I am unified.
Well, you are, but Vivek,
in this
you
race
are
to be unified.
Vivek,
and I think that's.
I know. Look,
that's the essence of what's different about my candidacy.
That sounds
this is why
great,
we're
but
succeeding.
you are in a race, and you are going to have to try and beat Donald Trump. And it's interesting to hear you admit that the dividing point for you is he's too divisive, right?
I think I am more unifying. That's the answer. And I think that that's more important. And the way we're going to unite this country is not by tearing down other people who have made great contributions to this country, Donald Trump being high on that list among them, but by actually articulating what this country stands for, answer what it means to be an American at a moment where we're in the middle of a national identity crisis. Fill that void in the heart of the millennial generation and younger with an actual vision of national identity instead of woke poison or any other poison that fills that void. That's how we win.